Hey everybody, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm going to read the first part of a creative nonfiction piece, and it's called The Prospectors. When I was 21, the scaffolding college had provided fell out from under me with a pronounced bang, leaving me flat on my back on a stained futon mattress. The mattress lay on the floor of a room I had rented in an old pink house in Northampton, Massachusetts. My roommates were two smiling men, one a teacher, one a waiter, neither of whom I knew well, as they woke up hours before I did. That was the time in my life when I slept until 1 and woke up with a pang, spending much of the day listening for their voices so I could slip into the shared kitchen or bathroom undetected, whiling away the afternoon until it was time to make up my face for my 5 o'clock shift as a cocktail waitress at Packard's Sports Bar.
Oh my God.
Some of those days, but not many, I parked myself in front of the clunky IBM laptop I had ordered off of eBay and spent an hour or two staring at a blank page. The computer was serviceable enough, although a bit rickety, having lost one of its hind legs in the shipment, as well as its G. This didn't stop me. I propped the computer up on a rumpled paperback and attempted to view the lack of a G as a formal limitation, similar to a poet's whimsical choice to restrict her prose into the tight corset of a villanelle or a sestina. Without a G, there were many words I couldn't write: grotesque, grammar, God, gain, or any verbs indicating continuous action, but I didn't miss any of them. I was trying to write a long story about my family, one that over time began twisting and snarling, much like the dead husks of vines tracking across the screen of my window. In my memory, it was winter for most of the 2 years I spent in Massachusetts. I walked those ice-haunted streets with small, slippery steps, expecting to lose my balance at any moment. It was on one of those walks that I decided I would never be able to reach a pinnacle of achievement, not here at least, in that pink house with those smiling men who were neither brothers or boyfriends. I needed spring, not just the nature kind, but the spring of resurrection, emptiness blooming into something else. My room was slowly filling up with thrift store furniture and clutter, the gradual accumulation that women like me are tempted into, and I had a fundamentalist urge to purge and start over. My best friend in the world, a Punky Brewster type named Jen from North Jersey, had her own reasons for wanting to leave the Northeast. She brought an atlas over, and we shuffled through states and cities as if those names were tarot cards holding the keys to our future. San Francisco was too much, stark, brimming with eucalyptus and venture capital. New York we had tried the year before and found lacking. Washington, D.C. wound too tightly around home for me. Chicago was too cold, the air in Atlanta was too fuzzy. Lying on my yard sale futon, we imagined the shoddy lives that would come from spending one's formative years in any of these second-rate cities. And then we hit upon Austin. It had the distinct romance of being in Texas, the belly of the beast, the state that spawned George Bush, but surely Austin was different. It had 6th Street, the infamous swath of bars, and Barton Springs, that glorious natural pool. It was hilly, but not as intimidating as San Francisco, and surely it would be less expensive than New York or D.C. We had imagined it as a dirt road city where you probably couldn't walk a block without Willie Nelson handing you a joint. For ourselves, we visualized a little cottage where we ate off mismatched, colorful china and drank tea together before retiring to our separate corners to do the work that would build up our names. In retrospect, I think we had been reading too much Henry Miller. We were tainted by his easy prose, the effortless arithmetic of drunken nights and hungry days, equaling unmatched creativity. It was easy for me to imagine the nights going by in Austin. We'd get a table for 2 at a cowboy bar, sip Negro Modelo's before we rose with the music to two-step with handsome strangers. And surely there would be nights when we stayed at home with our notebooks, laptops, easels, drinking gin and hot water like Joan Didion had, and transferring all of our blurry impressions outside of ourselves, where, baptized in ink, they would become crystal clear. But I was already a little bit afraid, though, of how that bright western sun would feel when it hit our sleepy eyelids in the morning hours. I couldn't quite imagine the mundanities of life, buying groceries, furnishing our new home. I especially couldn't imagine paying for all those mundanities. Working did not figure into our system. "You're afraid of the nights," Jen said. "That's funny. I'm afraid of the days."